If you suffer with migraine headaches and are tired of missing out on life because of this debilitating disease, then this is the most important video that you will ever watch. Hi, I'm Jeff Broomfield. I suffered with migraine headaches for over 20 years. My life was controlled by migraines. I tried just about every remedy over the years, but I was only able to get relief from the pain. If you can really call the experience of 2 Tylenol number 4s while suffering a migraine relief. But then I found Imitrex. Imitrex would completely wipe out the migraine if I took it early enough. After a while, I found myself needing to take these pills every other day. It turns out that a withdrawal symptom from many migraine drugs is rebound headache. If I didn't get a migraine on my own, I'd get one from not taking my pill. I had developed a dependency for a drug that has some serious potential side effects. My doctor wanted me to quit taking them, so I began to look for an alternative again. 7 years ago, I found the solution to my migraines, and I have not had one migraine headache since I completed my treatment. The Ontario Migraine Clinic in Georgetown, Ontario was awarded as the most successful migraine clinic in the world. Brandon Cleary uses acupuncture to treat migraines along with a breathing technique that you practice at home. He boasts a 93% success rate. I am one of them. For the last 7 years since my treatment, I've been practicing the breathing exercise. Anytime that I feel the slightest hint that a migraine headache might be coming on, I simply start my breathing and the feeling goes away. I've come to realize that it is the breathing exercise that allows me to keep control of my migraine headaches. As I dive deeper into the science of migraine headaches, human physiology, and breathing, it becomes even clearer that migraine headaches are breathing related. Since the breathing exercise allows me to control my migraines, then finding the cause of migraine headaches is simply a matter of understanding what the breathing exercise did for my body. The question is, what did the breathing exercise correct? The hypothesis is that migraine headaches are caused by hypoxia. A migraine headache is triggered when oxygenation in the brain drops below a certain threshold. Breathing habits that lead to poor oxygenation of the body's cells are the primary cause. Insufficient nutrients essential to delivering oxygen to our cells combine to leave us vulnerable to migraines. I originally thought that if a lack of oxygen was the cause, then all we need to do is breathe more air and we will get more oxygen. That would be the normal conclusion, wouldn't it? As I looked for scientific evidence to back up this hypothesis, I found what I needed to confirm that oxygen deprivation is the cause of migraine headaches. But I also found that I was completely wrong about breathing more air to get more oxygen. It turns out that less is more. There's a lot that I didn't know about breathing. We will begin by looking at what doctors have to say about the importance of oxygen. All chronic pain, suffering, and diseases are caused by a lack of oxygen at the cell level. Dr. Arthur C. Guyton, MD, and author of the textbook on medical physiology. Insufficient oxygen means insufficient biological energy that can result in anything from mild fatigue to life-threatening disease. The link between insufficient oxygen and disease has now been firmly established. Dr. W. Spencer Way from the Journal of American Association of Physicians. Oxygen plays a pivotal role in the proper functioning of the immune system. We can look at oxygen deficiency as the single greatest cause of all disease. Dr. Stephen Levine and Dr. Paris M. Kidd, Ph.D. Oxygen is the most important healing substance, the most important antibiotic, a versatile hormone, a blood clotter and anti-clotter, and the conductor of the orchestra of the immune system. Majali, MD. Before I go too deep into explaining this hypothesis, I have to point out that I am not a doctor and I have not received any medical training. The information in this video is the sharing of knowledge and personal experience and should not be considered as medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. I ask you to take a scientific approach to evaluating these ideas and include all of your healthcare providers in seeking the truth. If you're a critical thinker who likes to make your own decisions based on available information and your own experimentation, then keep on watching. I provide experiments that you can try for yourself and links to studies and further information that will allow you to do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Since our breathing is much more complex than most of us realize, there is a lot of information in this video and even more on my website. In my search to find studies and information to back up the hypothesis, I found the Buteyko breathing method. This led me to the website normalbreathing.com, created by Artur Rakimov, a PhD and Buteyko trainer. The Buteyko breathing method has a very high rate of success in eliminating asthma and several other chronic diseases. Dr. Buteyko was a medical doctor, a leading Soviet physiologist, and a clinical physician who devoted his life to the study of respiration. In the 60s, Dr. Buteyko led a respiratory laboratory as part of the Russian space program, and the Buteyko breathing method was officially approved by the Soviet Health Ministry in 1985. There is a lot of scientific data to back up his theory. According to published medical studies, 90% of us hyperventilate, and the average person breathes twice as much air as needed. 6 liters per minute at rest is considered the medical normal breathing rate, but the actual average breathing rate is double that at 12 liters per minute. When I first heard that, I pictured someone breathing in and out really fast, panting like a dog, as that is how hyperventilation has been framed for me. At 12 liters, most people consider themselves as barely breathing. It turns out that anything over 6 liters per minute is considered hyperventilation, and there's really no way to measure it. So how could you even know? Here are the causes of brain hypoxia when we overbreathe, according to the normalbreathing.com website. When we breathe heavier or deeper, more than the norm, we remove too much CO2 from all the cells of the human organism. This causes reduced blood flow to the brain. Carbon dioxide deficiency causes constriction of the blood vessels, and our brains get less oxygen supply. This physiological fact can be found in many medical textbooks. As Professor Newton from the University of Southern California Medical Center recently reported, cerebral blood flow decreases 2% for every millimeter of mercury decrease in CO2. Newton 2004. That means that with each second decrease in oxygenation index, blood flow to the brain is less by about 1%. Less blood means a decreased supply of glucose, the main fuel for the brain in normal conditions, oxygen, and other nutrients. In addition, it causes gradual accumulation of waste products and tissues. The suppressed Bohr effect. As we know, oxygen is transported by hemoglobin contained in red blood cells. How do these red blood cells know where in the body to release more oxygen and where less? Why do they unload more oxygen in those places where more is required? Hemoglobin-containing red blood cells sense higher concentrations of carbon dioxide and release oxygen in these locations. This effect strongly depends on the absolute carbon dioxide values in the blood and the lungs. If CO2 concentration is low, oxygen is held tightly on the red blood cells. Scientists call this effect increased oxygen affinity to hemoglobin. Hence, hyperventilation, which results in carbon dioxide deficiency, leads to hypoxia, or low oxygenation of the body cells, the suppressed Bohr effect. The more we breathe at rest, the less oxygenation of our cells in vital organs like the brain, heart, liver, kidneys, etc. Not only is the inflow of oxygen less due to vasoconstriction, but also its release is hampered by low CO2 concentrations, the Bohr effect. That further reduces brain oxygenation. Cerebral vasoconstriction is a linear effect. The more you hyperventilate, the more blood vessels in the brain and other tissues constrict. Those who hyperventilate, overbreathe, have been observed on average to have about 20% less oxygen in the brain 24/7. Since I'm not about to just take the word of a website, I did quite a bit of research to confirm this information. This includes checking the studies that they refer to, watching a lecture series on YouTube called Lectures in Respiratory Physiology by John B. West, MD and PhD from the San Diego School of Medicine, as well as many other sources of information. They all confirm these facts. It turns out that when we breathe too much, we expel too much carbon dioxide, and this increases our blood pH, reducing our hemoglobin's ability to deliver oxygen to our cells. This is described in the Bohr effect. The Bohr effect is a physiological law that can be found in most physiological textbooks. Christian Bohr stated that at lower pH, more acidic, hemoglobin would bind to oxygen with less affinity. If we look at this like a magnetic attraction, lower pH would cause less attraction and higher pH would cause more attraction. pH is controlled by a chemical reaction caused by carbon dioxide, and they are inversely related. Our tissues create carbon dioxide as waste when they are being used, and this lowers the pH, creating a more acidic area. When the blood passes through this area, the magnetic attraction between the hemoglobin and the oxygen is reduced, allowing the oxygen to break free and flow to those cells that need it. If your CO2 levels are too low, then the oxygen will not be able to break free and the cells will not get the oxygen they require. According to the Bohr effect, lower pH, higher temperature, higher DPG, lower atmospheric pressure, and increased hydrogen ion concentration all reduce the ability of the hemoglobin to carry oxygen. When our blood is being oxygenated in the lungs, then lower atmospheric pressure, or barometer, higher elevations, or increased temperature would reduce our ability to absorb oxygen. Lower CO2 concentrations reduce the hemoglobin's ability to deliver that oxygen to our cells and tissues. Our CO2 levels is controlled by ventilation. This is our breathing, and when we breathe too much, we expel our CO2 reserves. Breathing too much is considered hyperventilation, and this leads to many health issues. As you can see in this chart, studies show that hyperventilation and sickness go together. People with heart disease, diabetes, asthma, and many major diseases breathe 12 or more liters of air per minute. The worse the disease, the higher the breathing rate. In researching hyperventilation, I found that cold hands and feet are a symptom of hyperventilation. When we hyperventilate, the blood is drawn away from our skin and our hands, and the blood is pumped to our major organs. Maybe this is a self-defense mechanism meant to preserve function of the more vital organs during low oxygen situations. A common theory is that this is part of the fight or flight response, in which energy is transferred to the major muscles for fighting or running and drawn away from the skin to reduce bleeding from cuts. I found a way to prove to myself if hyperventilation was in fact causing my cold hands. If I could warm my hands just by changing my breathing, then this should prove that I am capable of diverting blood flow into my hands to warm them up. The hypothesis is that when we reduce our breathing and build our carbon dioxide levels, we will increase the flow of blood and delivery of oxygen to our skin and our hands, warming them up. I've been able to do this using the Buteyko breathing method, yoga's pranayama breathing, and the 9-breath method of qigong. On the flip side of hyperventilation, we have hypoventilation. This is when we don't breathe enough and we build up too much carbon dioxide, resulting in our blood becoming acidic. A sign of this would be bluish or purple-colored skin, fingers, toes, or lips. Sleep apnea is a form of hypoventilation. In addition to how much we breathe, we also have problems with how we breathe. When we look at our breathing mechanics, it turns out that there is a right way and a wrong way to breathe. Don't move. Just stay in whatever position you are in now. Now take a deep breath, as deep as you can. Now move into a position that would resemble good posture and take another deep breath. Notice the difference? Many of us sit at our computer in a position that makes it impossible for us to breathe with our diaphragm. Feel free to pause this video and try out different positions to see how you can breathe. When you find yourself in different positions throughout your day, take a deep breath and pay attention to your breathing. Shoulder and muscle tension can easily be caused by chest breathing. We either breathe with our diaphragm or we use our secondary breathing muscles, the traps, the upper chest, and neck muscles. This is called paradoxical breathing. When the neck and shoulder muscles complete over 15,000 reps in a day, work that is supposed to be done by the diaphragm, you can see why the neck muscles might tense up. Tense or swelled muscles reduce circulation, which reduces blood circulation and oxygen delivery. Try this simple test. Place one hand on your chest and one on your stomach. Now take a few deep breaths and observe. You may even want to try this in front of a mirror. Breathe through the nose or mouth, whichever feels natural. Note your hand movements as you breathe. If the hand on your chest moved more, then you are likely a chest breather. Maybe you hold in your stomach and stick out your chest like Superman. This is actually common advice. The problem with it is that when we do this, we restrict the movement of our diaphragm, and this causes chest breathing. I've been watching video lectures on physiology, and according to Dr. West, the lower part of our lungs get a lot more blood supply than the top part, as you can see in this graph. Chest breathing causes a drastic reduction in blood oxygenation. Did you inhale through your mouth? The human body is designed to breathe through the nose. There are many processes that happen when the air passes through our nasal passage that do not happen when we breathe through our mouth. Our nasal passage cleans and warms the incoming air, filters bacteria, viruses, dust particles, and other airborne particles. The nasal cavity also produces nitric oxide, which our body uses to destroy viruses and parasitic organisms, regulation of blood flow, vasodilation of arteries, regulation and binding and release of oxygen to hemoglobin, secretion of hormones from several glands, neurotransmission, and much, much more. This important gas is available only for nose breathers. At one time, calling somebody a mouth breather was considered an insult. Our atmosphere contains only about 0.04% carbon dioxide, but we need to maintain a level around 5% within our lungs. CO2 is reused as a bronchodilator, and without it, some of the bronchi and bronchioles will collapse and not allow oxygen to flow to the arterial blood. When we breathe through our mouth, it reduces the amount of CO2 in our system. In addition to that, CO2 has many more functions within our body, such as muscle relaxation, vasodilation, free radical generation, inflammatory response, nerve stabilization, and much more. The ability to deliver oxygen to the brain is regulated by the amount of carbon dioxide in our blood. Although we can't measure our breathing rate to determine our blood oxygenation, we can perform the body oxygen test, also called the control pause. Oxygen content in the organism can be found using a simple method. After exhalation, observe how long the person can pause their breath without stress. Dr. K.P. Buteyko. To do this, sit and completely relax for about 5 to 7 minutes. After a normal exhale, pinch your nose and hold your breath until the first desire to breathe. Measure this time in seconds. When you start breathing again, you should not have to breathe deeper than you were before the test or gasp for air. Full instructions and a video can be found on this web page. A breath holding time of less than 20 seconds indicates poor health and low oxygenation, and a holding time of 40 seconds or more indicates good health with normal oxygenation. Just be careful with this test as it could set off a migraine, which would just prove the theory right. How does our breathing get so out of balance? Mouth breathing, chest breathing, stress, poor diet, bad posture, aging, air pollution, lack of exercise. A major factor that affects our breathing is our emotions, such as the fight or flight response, anxiety, stress, and fear. Our emotions cause erratic changes in our breathing patterns. We tighten muscles, divert blood flow, change our pulse, change our posture, hyperventilate, and all sorts of things that we are unaware of. Quite often we stay in these stressed out states for long periods of time, and this helps to deteriorate our health and our blood chemistry. Our body tries to maintain a proper pH and will attempt to work around our imbalances. For example, if we are hyperventilating, this will reduce our partial pressure of carbon dioxide, and our body will react metabolically by increasing the output of bicarbonate from our kidneys in order to bring our pH back to normal values. If we are living in a constantly stressed environment and have trained ourselves to breathe excessively, then our body will be working harder to compensate for the imbalance. In this situation, we have two systems that are working to maintain balance. We have no direct control over our metabolic functions, but we do have control over our ventilation, our breathing. If we choose not to control our breathing and instead allow our breathing to control us, then our automated systems will be working in a degraded state. While we are in this degraded state, many other factors can upset our balance. A reduction in our red blood cell count or hemoglobin will reduce the amount of oxygen that we can absorb and transport. Studies say that 70% of us are magnesium deficient, and magnesium helps to build red blood cells. Vitamin B2 and B12, iron and calcium are also important, and low levels will degrade our ability to transport oxygen. Taking supplements that support the delivery of oxygen to cells is good common sense. Secondary to correcting your breathing habits, of course. You should note that migraine remedies are those things that increase the delivery of oxygen to our cells. Oxygen is qi. In Eastern medicine, they believe in the flow of energy called qi. Qi is an invisible energy force that flows through our entire body. Qi is the source of life. Its literal translation is breath, air, or gas, or more accurately, oxygen. Qi is oxygen. Qigong, or breathing exercise, is a Chinese belief that combines breathing with movement. The entire Chinese medical system is built on the prevention of disease with proper breathing habits, exercise, and anything that increases the flow of oxygen and its delivery to our cells. Qigong, Tai Chi, Kung Fu, yoga, and hundreds of other disciplines are all practiced by millions of people all around the world. The treatment that I received at the migraine clinic combined a breathing exercise and acupuncture. The needles were used to stimulate the flow of oxygen, and the breathing exercise maximized my absorption of oxygen. The secret is oxygen absorption. With proper oxygenation, our body will have maximum health. Sickness cannot exist in properly oxygenated cells. Doing the breathing exercise 3 times a day reoxygenates my body enough that I have not had a migraine headache in 7 years. Based on that exercise, I have created my own breathing training program that I call Migraine Ease. The Migraine Ease breathing method is a set of audio files that you listen to as you are guided through the breathing exercise. These files will teach you a breathing habit that will drastically improve the oxygenation of your whole body, including your brain. The program includes techniques that will help you to reprogram your subconscious breathing habits for maximum effectiveness. Learning how to retrain your breathing is not an easy task. This program gives you everything you need to master this breathing method. You can add the program to your cart at any time by clicking the Buy Now link below this video. Navigate to migraineease.com if you are not already on the website. The Migraine Ease breathing method is designed specifically for those with migraine headaches. You can use this breathing program along with acupuncture, massage, chiropractic, qigong, stretching, or any other method of creating more circulation for maximum effectiveness. The more I research qi, invisible energy, and oxygen, the more I believe that this invisible energy that exists everywhere is oxygen. Most of us know that we are made up mostly of water. However, by mass, we are 65% oxygen. Remember that water is made of hydrogen and oxygen. Rocks are about 92% oxygen by volume. Back when qi was first discovered, people didn't know about oxygen. They knew about air but didn't have a way to distinguish between air and oxygen until qi became the popular word for it. In the West, we have science that calls it oxygen. Everything that they say about qi is true for oxygen as well. Some will say that there is much more to qi than just oxygen, but I believe that there is much more to oxygen than what we realize. Qi is oxygen. The yin and yang show a balance between two forces that could very well portray the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide. We are 65% oxygen and 18% carbon, and proper maintenance of this balance determines our health. That is why I believe that the foundation for most of the ancient Eastern beliefs are breathing exercises. Whether it be martial arts, meditation, medicine, healing energy, it's all about increasing the flow and absorption of oxygen. How you breathe and direct that flow of oxygen through your body can be achieved through physical motion or by directing that energy with your intentions. It's also possible that we can direct blood flow and oxygenation through our breathing mechanics and posture. After looking at all kinds of different breathing techniques people have used to relieve themselves of migraine headaches, be it yoga, exercise, Reiki, acupuncture, chiropractic, massage, they all increase circulation, which increases blood flow and oxygenation. How you breathe determines your health. Of all the different breathing methods I have researched, Brandon's breathing method is the easiest and most effective for reducing migraine symptoms. A 3-year study showed that 93% of those who completed the full course of his treatment didn't suffer from another migraine after the last treatment. For me, it's been 7 years. I like to go with what works. The breathing method that I would like to share with you is the same exercise that I learned and has kept me free of migraine headaches for over 7 years. I've replaced the acupuncture with various other techniques such as the power of suggestion and intention, so you don't have to worry about the needles. The audio files will guide you through the breathing exercise and provide different levels of guidance. I use natural background sounds to help create a relaxing mood and guide you through the breathing exercise. I guide you through the mechanics of what is happening and help you set mental anchors and thoughts of intention that will help to improve your health. You get 9 audio files, including Migraine Rescue Remedy.
Early users tell me that they have successfully reduced or eliminated a migraine just by using Migraine Rescue Remedy alone, after a migraine has already begun and without doing anything else.
I can't make any promises that this breathing method will eliminate your migraine headaches. Results will vary and depend on a wide variety of circumstances. What I can tell you is that the product comes with a money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied in 60 days, you'll get a full refund. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Just click the Buy Now link below to add the Migraine Ease breathing method to your cart. You will be given instant access to the MP3 files so you can download them and get started immediately. How much do you think a program like this should cost? Any alternative treatment that you will try will cost between $50 and $100 per visit and require multiple visits. A pill like Imitrex costs $30 each, and you need one for every migraine. I could charge hundreds of dollars for this product, but I want this to be available to everybody, so it has to be affordable. You can buy it now for the introductory price of $27.97. Just click on the Buy Now button located below to add this product to your cart. You will get instant access to download the files so you can get started immediately. The product comes with a money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied in 60 days, you will get a full refund. You have everything to gain by acting now. By learning this exercise, you will gain control of your breathing, and in doing so, you will gain control of your migraine headaches. When you control your own health, you get back control of your life. Please remember that I am not offering medical advice. This is for informational purposes only. These comments and this product have not been evaluated by the FDA or Health Canada. Check with your healthcare practitioner to see if breathing is right for you. Results will vary and will depend on a wide variety of circumstances, including your commitment to this program. For best results, get started today. Go ahead and click on the Buy Now button and add Migraine Ease to your cart now.